What is up, everybody? This is W Shadows and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are gonna do something that has been requested by a few people for a while now, which is to do a talent tree overview. And yeah, we're gonna be talking a little bit about the class, about the build that I have been playing in PvP, and basically just give as much insight as possible onto the latest class that was added in World of Warcraft Midnight. So let's get started. Before we we move on, I would just like to clarify a few things. One, I am sick, so I apologize for my voice sounding raspy or whatever the fuck it sounds like. I'm a little bit sick, so unfortunately I'm not doing too good. My voice is gonna sound weird. Second of all, these options, these talents are specifically aimed for PvP. Not that there's a massive difference with the PvE talents, but still, this is purely for PvP at the moment. So yeah, let's go ahead with it. I have been playing Annihilator for the past 2.5 months or so since Midnight came out. The build, this is pretty much the build that I've been playing in most of my games, in solo shuffle and everything. In pretty much all the clips that you've seen over the past month, I have been playing this build pretty much. It's a little bit inspired off of what a few other players have done, a few other top demon hunters did, but you know, with my own little twist on it. So pretty much, I think, to be honest, this is the most optimized version of the build at this point. So let's get started. I'm gonna skip obviously these first talents right here. We're just going to take a look at the options for soul immolation, which is tempered soul to add an extra charge of soul immolation and have the cooldown reduced, or have soul immolation heal for an additional 4% of your health over its duration, and the cooldown is reset when you kill somebody. So I guess here, depending on what you're playing, if you're playing, for example, RPGs or something like that, spontaneous immolation might be good, but for arenas, for solo shuffle, tempered soul is definitely the play. You're never gonna get a kill and not finish the game there in solo shuffle, at least, so this isn't worth it. I don't think you're going to be using it in 2v2 or 3v3s either, so I feel like this is something purely for RBG or maybe Mythic Plus. I don't know if they give experience. So Tempered Soul is the option here. Void Metamorphosis, of course, and Feast of Souls. Now, and there's something we have to understand here. I'm just going to clarify this because we will get back to it in a few minutes. Feast of Souls, the way it works is that every stack of soul that you get from hitting people is basically 1% extra damage for the next 6 seconds. Multiple applications may overlap. Now, this sounds really good. It's a very good talent, objectively speaking. There's only a little problem with it. The way I thought it worked, and maybe a few other people did as well, maybe I'm not the only one that got, surprised by this. The way I thought it worked was that every time you got a new soul, the 6-second timer would get reset. Unfortunately, that is not how it works. Every single soul has its own individual 6-second timer that ticks down regardless of how many other souls you have. So you will, if you pay attention to it while you're PvPing or any other point, you will see actually the Feast of Souls will be going up and down throughout time, depending on how fast you're hitting. The more souls you have, the more damage you do, period. But we'll get back to it later. This is something that's going to be important. Here we have the option to have Reap that generates 10 Fury, or Void Blade damage increased by 100%, and Void Blade now generates 20 Fury. The option here is Reap all the way, not even close. I thought about giving the Void Blade talent a try at some point, but objectively speaking, you just get a lot more cooldown resets for Reap, so it's just better. And you don't get to use Void Blade as much either, so you're not really benefiting in the end. We are not playing Collapsing Star. We played it for a little bit, but I'm not crazy about it anymore. There's a few reasons for that. The damage is beautiful. I absolutely love it. If you can, fucking Spirit Bomb a fucking Collapsing Star into somebody, and then follow up with Reap, Consume, Void Ray, motherfucker gonna blow up. There's no question about it. The problem is that first of all, it requires at least 2 extra talent points from the Devourer list over here, and for you to play Inevitable End. So one of your 3 PvP talents needs to be Inevitable End, which I'm not crazy about. I'm not crazy about it at all. On top of that, Collapsing Star also can be easily dealt with. So if you don't have the PvP talent, Collapsing Star can be kicked. If you have the PvP talent, people will have to CC you / cancel your target. So anything like Feign Death, Invisibility, Trap, any sort of CC will interrupt that. And for one reason or another, I don't know why this skill specifically, but if you stop casting Collapsing Star, if it gets interrupted, you need to wait for 5 seconds before you can cast it again. And I don't know, that makes it very bad. Because like you start charging, so imagine you charge up a Collapsing Star, you're about to throw it, then the major targeting goes turns invisible. So you stop, you know, you have to wait the 5 seconds to start casting it again. Then you take it out, then he fucking Dragon Breaths you. Then he hits you out again, you start casting it again. Like all of this, you pretty much, it's pretty easy to cancel it. It's very easy to deal with it, I feel like. On top of that, you're standing still, you can also be pushed away from it, you can be pulled away from it. There's so many things you can do to just not let the Devourer play or use Collapsing Star. So I'm not crazy about that. I'm not crazy about the enemies having an easy way of countering me. I choose to just not play it. I choose to save this talent, and I choose to save the 4th talent of Midnight, which gives you an instant Collapsing Star the second you metamorphosis, and put them in extra points. We don't need it, you know, like it's crazy burst, but you know, it's very easy to play around. Maybe you can get to a decent rating, but then once you start facing better people or people that just know how to play your class, the horse is being goofy. Once you start playing people who know how to deal with your class, you're gonna do a lot less damage. You will not enjoy Collapsing Star, or at least I don't think so, you know. Like other than that, if they let you free cast, sure, all the better, but if they don't, you might not enjoy it. Let's move on. Gift of the Void. From what I've seen, crit strike doesn't seem to matter quite as much in Midnight. So the extra 2% chance, I haven't really seen people use it. And in order to get down to the other talents, you need to use to put either points in Sweet Suffering or Cinch Spirit, which I don't really think are worth it. Soul Elimination generates an additional 12 Fury over its duration. It's not bad, but whatever. Or Sweet Suffering. The duration of Feast of Souls is increased by 1 second. So this is what I was talking about. It sounds very good on paper. In reality, I don't think so, truth be told. I really don't think. Now, remember what I said when I talked about Feast of Souls? I mentioned that every soul has its own individual cooldown. So the way I thought this would work is that if it added an extra 1 to 2 seconds, depending on how many points you put into it, but if you put all 2 points, it's 2 extra seconds. In those 2 extra seconds, I thought it would make a big deal if it reset the cooldown of all your souls, but unfortunately it doesn't. It only adds you time to get a few extra souls. So from what I've seen, I've played it for a little bit, the difference is about 3 to 5% extra damage. Like everything you do will have 3 to 5% extra stacks of Feast of Souls from these 2 seconds, potentially, not necessarily. So I don't necessarily think it's good, truth be told. I feel like we're very scarce on points, and everything that we have here is absolutely primordial in my opinion. So I don't use Sweet Suffering. That's it. Second helping Reap gains an additional charge, absolutely beautiful. Umbral Blade is, now some people are not necessarily playing it. If you have a brain and you know, don't like necessarily to play Glass Cannon, you play with versatility, mastery, mostly mastery, you're not going to have much haste, so there's no point to having Reap's cooldown reduced by haste if you don't have any haste. So you decide if you keep it or not. On my end, I am playing I'm playing Mastery in Haste. I will show the stats soon. I will be going over it very shortly. I am playing Mastery in Haste with like 3 to 4% versatility. I'm complete Glass Cannon. So this is a good talent, I guess, for me. If you're playing with haste, high haste, you can throw that in as well. Improved Consume, of course, you have to take it. Sweet Release, this one is huge. I did not realize how huge it was, but it's absolutely a big deal. If you're playing against classes like, well, actually against anybody, period. Having this extra 4% chance to shatter a soul fragment is ridiculous, because every tick of Void Ray has an extra 4% chance to give you souls. And on top of that, when you're AoEing, you know, so let's say you're doing like 10 to 15 ticks, let's say 10 ticks of damage per Void Ray, maybe 15. Then you apply that to, let's say, 2 players plus their pets. That's, let's say, another 2 or 3, or whatever the fuck they summon on the floor. That's gonna be a lot of people that you hit with 4% chance to get souls out of. You know, we want to get metamorphosis as fast as possible. We want to just pump damage and get souls so we can start doing more and more. So this is absolutely important. I highly recommend you play with it. Soul Shaper, you have to take it, absolutely. Of course, each soul fragment gathered by Reap increases his damage by 8%. This is a huge deal in terms of damage here. And Waste Not, this one you absolutely have to take it, otherwise you can't take Improved Consume. Damage from Void Ray has 200% chance, increased chance. 200% increased chance to generate a soul fragment. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. And sick as well. So this just, you know, puts the emphasis on how important Void Ray is in our soul gathering part of the game. We want to be spamming Void Ray very often, especially when, once again, when we have opponents like Warlocks, you know, like Demonology Warlocks, Unholy DKs, BM Hunters, anything that summons, anything that has pets, anything the kind, and you just throw Void Ray on them, you're gonna get like so many souls right there. Like every Reap is gonna bring you 10 souls for the next few seconds. So Void Ray is very important. We're gonna go over that in another video probably. We'll make that one shorter simply for the rotation and how to, you know, rock the class. Then over here, Void Purge, of course, Void Ray's cooldown during Void Metamorphosis is reduced by 2 seconds. Void Ray is a huge deal in Metamorphosis, so this is a very nice talent to get as well. Moving forward, Hungering Slash. There's some people that do not play with Hungering Slash, and I don't understand why. This is very good. This is basically, this gives you an extra, for both melee and for the nuker build, it gives you extra backflips for free. Like it's extra mobility, and it works perfectly with Glimpse. So I don't know why people do not use it. I don't know how they even play without it. Because your mobility is drastically reduced without it. So think about it. Every time you you have Vengeful Retreat, then you Void Blade to somebody. Oh, I can't do it right now. Then you press Hungering Slash, and you have 2 extra stacks of Vengeful Retreat. And if you don't have, you know, Hungering Slash, then you're just gonna have the 1 Vengeful Retreat, and that's it. And you have to wait 30 seconds. So I don't understand how people do it, but to me, it's absolutely necessary. I would highly recommend you play with it as well. Void Rage, of course, we need as much mastery as we can. Focus rate, we needed to get down to the, you know, Eradicate line of talents, and everything else from here is pretty straightforward. I put 2 points as well in Demonic Instinct, so I can do an extra 20% damage with Void Ray. And then everything else here, we just did not take Void Glare Boon, which is after fully channeling Void Ray, Contained Fury. It's good, but it's, once again, we're scarce on points. We have other shit to prioritize, so this is good. Instead, we pick Rolling Torment, which increases the damage you do after Metamorphosis runs out, depending on how many souls you have. So this is also something very good, and we go all the way down to Eradicate. We obviously also play Emptiness. Now, I have tried playing Soul Glutton with the nuker. It's not really good. Objectively speaking, you get a lot more Metamorphosis uptime, but your Metamorphosis is just not as strong anymore, unfortunately. So I'm not crazy about it. I feel like Emptiness is still the play, and just get that super crazy amount of haste and pump out fucking Consumes every 0.3 seconds for 80,000 damage. That's pretty much it. So like I said as well, we also don't have the 4th point of Midnight. We do have the first 3 because we want the extra 6% cosmic damage increase. So yeah, this is what I'm playing for nuker. I'm gonna make a separate one for Void's card, but for the Annihilator build, these are the talents that I'm playing. I feel like it's very well optimized. We have some good mobility from Hungering Slash. We gather souls very fast from Sweet Release. We get to spam Void Ray as much as possible, and the cool thing about it, with this build, a lot of what we're doing is either insta-cast or uninterruptible, which is perfect. Void Ray, you can't kick it, and if you combine the Umbral Blade, the Reap plus the Consume combo from Beacon, which we're going to go over in a second, you get a lot of insta cast, which is something absolutely good. You want to be able to insta cast as much as possible, and if possible, if you're not getting kicked, if people are ignoring you, hard cast consumes, of course, but if you're getting kicked, you want to be able to use your insta cast. So these are the talent choices for the spec itself. For the PvP talents, we'll go over them right now. The number one most important beacon. Reap reduces the cast time of your next consume by 100% and causes it to generate 1 additional soul fragment. So every time you reap, you get a free consume to just insta cast, which is can't do crazy amount of damage. This makes a huge difference in your burst. I thought about it a few times. I theorized about playing without beacon, but unfortunately it just takes away so much from your burst. When you pop metamorphosis, you use a reap that will do crazy amount of damage because of the voidfall meteors, and then if you get to insta cast a consume, you can combo like some crazy amount of damage. I've done 200 something damage in 2 shots with these kinds of combos on openers. If you don't have beacon, you use reap, and then you have to hard cast the consume, which can 1 get kicked, 2 give more time to your opponents to get ready. So instead of doing 200,000 damage, you're going to do 100,000 from reap, and then the next consume is going to do nothing because he walled, or he dealt with it. So beacon is absolutely necessary. The next one, glimpse. Some people just straight up don't use it. I like it. I think it has like some crazy skill cap, which is Vengeful Retreat provides immunity to loss of control effects and reduces damage taken by 35% until you land. So it's basically blur, a better blur, except it can also resist CC, which is incredible. So if you combine that with all the extra Vengeful Retreats you get from Hungering Slash, you're just gonna have a lot of CC immunity and potentially damage resistance. So if you pay attention to what's happening around you, a rogue that is about to open on you, you hop away right as he opens on you. You do not take any damage, you don't get sapped, you don't get kidneyed, you don't get cheap shotted. It's just beautiful. Honest to God, it's beautiful, and you're backflipping, you're looking all cool and stuff. Win-win, so I absolutely play with glimpse every time that I can. It helps so much with dealing with CCs. If there's mages and trying to poly me, there's dragons trying to sleep me, and I glimpse away at the last second. They wasted their time casting a spell that will do nothing on me, and it does nothing on me, so I'm good. And now this is where we have to make a choice. We have the choice of one, which is Armor of Souls, very good against physical classes. Your armor is increased by 100%, and taking damage has a 12% chance to generate a soul fragment. I know the 100% increase sounds very good, and it is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not, it's not 100% damage reduction. It can be misleading if you look at it from a certain angle. I've taken a look at what it does, like specifically for my character, and the difference was about 12 I think maybe 13-14% extra physical damage resistance or so, which is very good. And on top of that, taking a damage, 12% chance to generate a soul fragment. I'm pretty sure that taking a damage in this case also applies to dot, also applies to really any sort of damage that you can take, any sort of ticks, anything. And God knows Midnight has like 30 billion ticks, abilities that dot you to death. Every single tick, every little pet that hits you has a 12% chance to give you a soul. That's incredible. So for a lot, if you're playing with BM Hunter and Unholy DK once again, or a Demonology Warlock, and you just put on Armor of Souls, you're gonna get a lot more souls. That 12% is gonna seem really big when there's like 50 pets on the screen. So that's one of the options. The option 2, which I really like sometimes but has its own drawback, is Surrender to the Void. Void Metamorphosis requires 50 additional souls, and while you're in Metamorphosis, the damage is increased by 10%, and effects that grant you Fury grant 100% additional Fury, and as we know, we need Fury to maintain Metamorphosis. So the drawback to using this talent is that it takes you longer to get to 100 souls. And that's the big drawback. You have a bit more downtime, but the uptime becomes crazy. You start pumping like turbo. If people do not kick you / CC you, it's like very close to unhealable damage, really. So the extra 10% damage, you feel it, trust me. And the effects that grant you Fury grant 100% additional Fury. That means your Metamorphosis straight up just lasts longer. So instead of having like 30 seconds or something of Metamorphosis, that's if you're allowed to cast during the entire time, you can get upwards to somewhere like a minute and 10 seconds with Surrender to the Void. That's a huge deal. I use it I try to use it when it's either classes that have very long kicks. Warlocks and mages I think have like 5 and 6 second long counter spell, or whatever the fuck the warlock version of kick is. That's huge. When you're in Metamorphosis, CS for 6 seconds will most often just take you out of Metamorphosis because your Fury can't keep up. Your Fury is draining and you have no way of getting it. A kick in Metamorphosis just kills us. We do not get to play. All we can do is backflip, but in the meantime we can't cast, so our damage can straight up be nullified once we start casting because people will kick. This is why I'm saying, please use your instacast. We need to use our instacast before we hardcast. So yeah, this is definitely one of the ways you can put some ridiculously high pressure. But once again, if somehow you don't kill them in that Metamorphosis in that time frame, you're gonna have to build up those souls for quite a while. So it has its drawback. Sometimes not necessarily worth it, but in sometimes, like I said as well, mages, warlocks, these classes that have range kicks, and anybody really, if they let you cast, you're fine. But if they're trying to kick you, you have to be careful. You have to be very careful with that. And lastly, reverse magic removes all harmful magical effects from yourself and all nearby allies within 10 yards and sends them back to their original caster. I like it, but it's been like, there's been a bunch of hunters who shit talk me for, or not hunters, sorry, healers who shit talk me for not using reverse magic and not reversing traps that hunters put on them. And it's a bit of a bummer because I know for a fact, I've been told, at least not I know for a fact, I've been told that hunters have like something called a diamond traps or something like that. I don't know, a PvP talent or something, and it pretty much makes the traps unreversible or uninterruptible. I guess it's the equivalent of detainment, I think. So basically you would get the talent to reverse a trap, but then you try to reverse it and it doesn't work. So I don't know, it's like you get a talent to hopefully help your teammates, but at the same time you lose a bit yourself. And I feel like you're in a multiplayer game, your teammates suck anyway, bro. Just let them suck. Focus on yourself. You focus on getting the best performance. Worry about that later, you know, especially once again if it's something that can be counterable. You know, diamond traps, I've seen a surprisingly high amount of hunters use it, and on top of that as well, the range is so small. The radius is 10 yards. It's a fucking joke, you know. So I'm not crazy about it, but it's one of the options. Let's go over now to the hero talent. So like I said, we're playing Annihilator with Voidfall. We're just going to go over the options you have to customize, which is here. You can replace State of Matter to get an extra blink, an extra shift, or Path to Oblivion, which is each stack of Voidfall grants you 3% increased movement speed. You're not gonna get to use it very often. Like at best, let's say you have all 3 stacks of Voidfall, you run 9% faster. But do you really need to run when you have 2 blinks and 3 backflips? And even more, do you really want to save the Voidfalls and not use them for damage just because you get more speed? I wouldn't. I'd rather just have the extra blink and that's it. And here, I think this is the last one we can customize here. Harness the Cosmos, Voidfall meteor damage increased by 15%, or Doomsayer. Activating Void Ray auto combat or within 10 seconds of entering combat calls down 3 Voidfall meteors over its duration. Both are good. I feel like I prefer Harness the Cosmos, but Doomsayer is not bad either. I've never really used it. I think there was some interaction with Night Elves being able to hide for a few seconds and using Doomsayer to get like an extra 3 Voidfall meteors, but I'm not sure. I don't play it. I'm a Void Elf myself, gang. I fucking love my class, my race, and I'm happy with it. And to finish, we're gonna go over the Demon Hunter options that we went depending on what you're playing. So now there's a bit of variation as well depending on what mode of PvP you're playing. So here, for example, Improved Sigil of Misery. I think it's a very good talent to have to reduce a cooldown by 30 seconds. I don't always use it because the class has a lot of AoEs with huge radius, so it's so easy to wake people out of fear. I'm not really sure I want to spend a talent on it, so I just didn't put it on it. But we took Shattered Restoration, of course. Unrestrained Fury. Vengeful Bonds doesn't really seem good. 3 seconds slow is meh. I mean, it's not bad, I guess, but I would rather just have the 20 Fury. Bouncing Glaives, we have to take it. Imprison, we have to take it. Charred Warblades, we do not. We do not do any sort of fire damage. I do not know why this talent is even here. Devourer doesn't have any skills or anything that turns regular damage into fire damage. So this is a completely useless talent. I don't know why it's here. It only leads to Eldrachi design, which is increase your chance of parry by 3%, but it's like whatever. I guess that can be managed. If you have to get that piece of shit for it, then it's not really worth it. Void Nova, of course. Improved Disrupt. Technically you have the choice not to play it, but it's you increase the range of Disrupt to 10 yards. That's a pretty big deal. Having a range kick to me is truly beautiful. So that's what I'm rocking. Consume Magic as well is very nice. Focused Ire, well, we have to take it this one. Master of the Glaive. Throw Glaive has 2 charges and snares. All enemies hit by 50% for 6 seconds. So we have a range slow. 2 range slows actually with very short cooldown. What is that? 7.6 second cooldown. So we can snare them for 6 seconds and then throw another one a second and a half later. This is crazy good, especially when we're getting, you know, chased by a bunch of melees. Throw these fucking glaives. Please throw them. You have the option here, Disrupting Fury. If you're playing against some casters, it's maybe not a bad idea to use to get this talent, but I don't always do it. This is just an option to swap in between. Shift gains an additional charge, of course. Swallowed Anger. Consume Magic generates 20 Fury when a beneficial magic effect is successfully removed. That's also, I guess, an interesting way of keeping Fury, but I'm not really crazy about it, so I take that out. This is a mistake. I was not supposed to have this talent. Fire Haste. Aura of Pain. We have to take this one. Live by the Glaive. When you parry an attack or have one of your attacks parried, restore 2% of your max health. Once again, we have to get these awful talents on the way, so not really worth it. Let's continue. Pursued Mastery, increase your movement speed. Yes, please. We're playing high mastery regardless if we have haste or not, so this is nice. Soul Rending. I think this is like all our self-healing that's not from Soul Immolation comes from Soul Rending, from our leech. So when we, you know, drop some Void Rays on a bunch of pets, stuff like that, we actually heal for a lot of damage, especially on Metamorphosis. You follow that up with an Eradicate into a Consume and everything, that 10% is beautiful. Actually 20%. So Fire Haste, we don't need movement speed. We're already fast enough. It's not really worth it. Infernal Armor, so I don't think I would use it. You have 2 points to put into this. It can get you like something like 20% extra armor and causes melee attackers to suffer 64 fire damage. It's not bad, but it's, once again, remember that the armor percentage in reality, the percentage of armor sounds big. In reality, the physical damage reduction is a lot smaller. So let's say 10% would be here, closer to 2, maybe 2% extra damage reduction. Follow that up with an extra point, so that's 4% damage reduction, which isn't bad, but we can only get it on Soul Immolation, so I'm not crazy about it. Soul Immolation removes 1 curse effect and 1 disease effect. Maybe, but it's interesting, but I haven't seen anybody use it. I guess you can swap between which one is necessary for you depending on what you're playing. If you're playing against Warlocks or some shit, or you know, if you're playing against a fucking rogue, an assassination rogue, you can rotate between the two. I just keep Lost in Darkness, and so I can use Spectral Sight, and that's it. And then from here on out, it just goes down. We this one we take everything on the right side. Attacks and abilities, that's Pen Fury, Void Ray, deal 3% increased damage. And the last customizations to end the video on is here. These few points. These points I'm rotating depending on what I'm playing against. So if I'm playing against something that does magic damage, this one is very good. Demon Muzzle. Interrupting a spell with Disrupt decreases your magic damage taken by 15% for 12 seconds. and your kick is basically 15 seconds. So if you just kick a mage or something, you kick something every 15 seconds, you're gonna have like some crazy high uptime with some extra magic damage reduction. So if you're playing against Red Paladin, for example, mage, warlock, whatever does magic damage, I swapped to this talent instantly on the spot. This is one of them. Now here, depending on what you're playing, you can also decide if you're getting these talents or not. If you're playing solo shuffle, get long night. If you're playing not the other one, reduce the cooldown of darkness by 120 seconds. Solo shuffles, like rounds of solo shuffles, almost never go past 3 minutes. So going for this, I don't think would really be worth it. I would go for long night to increase the duration of darkness by 3 seconds, or just not get it at all. And if you don't want to put the points in there, I just put some extra points in blink so I can make it faster, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, this is pretty much what like I said, I've been rocking this for the past 2.5 months. We've gotten to 2345 at the time. I think that was something like rank 6 for Devourer in North America, and we were pushing for rank 1, but unfortunately rogues existed at that time, so what can we do? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Well, I haven't done a talent review or any sort of guides in World of Warcraft up until this point, so I'm still learning. I'm getting used to it on the more educational content. So please, if you have any feedback or tips or anything, some questions, please let me know. I will be here in comments. You can message me on Discord. You can join my stream on twitch.tv/wshadows, where I'm streaming pretty much daily there. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the support over the time, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.